Welcome everybody. You are in for a treat. Today's webinar is titled Cut Your Stress at Work and Home with 3 Simple Strategies. My name is Michael Haskett and I'm thrilled to be co-hosting this webinar today. I am the creative director at Durango Courses, where our experts can condense their years of experience, training, and education into practical, fun, interesting, action-packed courses that provide real results. And in the next 60 minutes, our expert Roger Haskett will keep you on the edge of your seat while he shows you how to transform your stress into success and have increased confidence and more personal power. Let's make sure everyone can hear and see me okay. So just type yes in the chat box, which is over on the right-hand side of your screen. Here's a picture to show you what I'm talking about. Follow the blue arrows. Up at the top on the left is the chat where you should be seeing. And down at the bottom where it says write your message here, that's where you'll communicate with us. So if you want to type in the chat box right now and type in, say, hi, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're at, we can see how things are going today. Now, what you also can type in that chat box for us is, do you experience stress at work, at home, or both? And just type that in the chat box. And the reason we do that is it helps us to make this webinar personal, eventful, and interactive for you as well, if we know the answers to those questions. Now, while you're typing in those answers, I just want to give you a quick note about webinars and technology. If at any time throughout the webinar you experience technical difficulties, the screen freezes, you lose sound or picture, try refreshing and reloading the page. If that doesn't work, after a couple tries, then close the page, return to your welcome email, and click on the login button again. Okay, answers are starting to come in. I'm going to shout out hello to Tracy, Rick, Oliver, Todd, Lily, Ann, Pete, Andy, Sarah, Jacqueline, Jose, Scott. You guys are just flooding in right now. That's excellent. Answers to the questions. We've got work, we've got home. We've got home, we've got work. Both. Do a quick poll here. It looks like we've got about a 50-50 on the home and work and both in there. So it's quite a mixed bag. That's quite normal.
That is quite normal.
That is. There's the voice of Roger. You guys are going to get to see him in just a second. He's waiting in the wings for us to give him the video and the lead. So let's maximize your webinar experience today, everybody. What I'd like you to do is turn off everything that's not required. And when we do go to live video, which is just in a second, that video takes a lot of energy and resources from your computer, your tablet, or your phone. So turn off everything in the background, including your email, your Skype, your iTunes, any extra programs that you may have on. Also, you can silence your phones, close the door, put on a headset if you need to, and give yourself this time to discover some new strategies. You're here for a reason, and we put in weeks of prep to deliver the best free webinar we possibly can deliver to you today. We don't want you to miss anything, and we promise to make it worthwhile for you. Now, at the end of this webinar, we're going to share with you, for the very first time, a really cool bonus. It's extra special, and I promise it'll be worth your time. So make sure you stick around to the end to see what that is. Now, today, Roger's going to share some of the best stuff from his new program so that you can see what it's all about. Our goal is that you walk away from this masterclass thinking, holy cow, is that some of the best webinar content I've received, and I'm ready to implement it. That's our goal for you. Now, are you in the right place? Well, you are in the right place if you want to transform your stress and increase confidence and personal power. You're in the right place if you want to understand how your brain and body work under stress and how best to manage yourself for optimal performance. You are in the right place if you want to improve your public speaking abilities, harness your energy more efficiently, and prepare for stress more effectively. And you are in the right place if you want to communicate more effectively while under pressure. So let's get our expert Roger Haskett out here. And for those of you that are curious, it's not a coincidence that Roger and I both have the same last name. We're brothers. And it is the first time we've had a chance to work together on a large project like this, and it is very special for both of us to be able to present this incredible material for you. Now, Roger Haskett, there's some pictures of him and some of the acting that he's done.
Oh my goodness, why aren't there better pictures of me?
Well, Those are pretty good pictures, Roger. Nice shows. Roger is an award-winning director, writer, actor, teacher, speaker, and entrepreneur. He has a BFA, which for some of you don't know, it's a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Acting and a Master's in Education. He's acted in over 150 films, TV shows, and commercials, and he's auditioned approximately 3,000 times over the last 20 years. Now, some of you may have seen Roger. There's a good picture of him in some of the acting shows that he's been in: iRobots, Duets, Stargate, X-Files, and The Flash, to name just a few. And some of the people he's worked with: Ben Affleck, Matt Dillon, Paul Giamatti, Shia LaBeouf, sorry Shia if I got that wrong, but Shia LaBeouf and Ricky Schroeder. Here's Roger and his family, so you guys get a chance to see his personal life. That's his wife and his 3 kids, and there's another shot of him. Now, over to our expert, Roger Haskett. There he is, live for you folks.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's really amazing that you're taking some time to share it with us. So we want to get into things right away. And I wanted to start talking about, actually, what we want to talk about is sort of why we're doing this, why Michael and I are teaming up to work on this. And a little bit later, you'll be able to hear more of my normal beginning to this story of, like, you know, why I was an actor dealing with lots of pressure and stress, just like every actor, walking into rooms, finding it where walking into rooms where I wanted to do magnificent things, like really magnificent things, like things to, you know, that would have an effect on my career, on my future, even my fate. Like, I wanted to go into those rooms and do magnificent things. I was finding it really hard to do normal things, like breathe, you know, like those normal things. And I looked around at the time and sort of went, you know, everyone else is dealing with this. You know, all these other actors who are professional actors, they work as an actor for a living, and yet they're still feeling this way. So I started to create a system to deal with these issues so that actually I could become the biggest, best, most playfully authentic version I could be, so that I could do magnificent things in rooms where there's a real, like a heightened amount of stress, like a real amount of stress. So I usually tell that story, but my brother challenged me last week, and he said, listen, that's great, but people are going to hear that a little later. What we want to know is what really drove you. What drove you to change your life so that you started to actually reach out to help other people become the biggest, best versions of themselves? Like, what actually drove you to do that? And so I started to talk to my wife about this, and I was like, you know, this is the thing is, what is it really that has driven me to make this massive change? Because while I've been working on these strategies for 20 years, really in the last couple of years is where I've turbocharged my change, where the last 4 to 5 years. And it's very interesting because my story is very similar to most people's stories when they come to these type of moments in their life. I was outwardly really successful. Like 4 or 5 years ago, I was super successful from an outward point of view. I had a thriving real estate mini empire. I had a company. I had an acting career. I was getting into writing and directing, and I was writing a show that I'm co-writing a musical that looks like it's going to go to Broadway, and at the time was getting all this acclaim and getting all this sort of real excitement. But yet, inside me, things weren't nearly as good. Things were actually as unhappy as I'd ever been. Which is saying a lot, because while I'm a really happy guy, I also, you know, like everyone, have moments of darkness and moments where I'm in a deep, dark hole. And what I started to realize, like, so 4 or 5 years ago, is that I had been banging my head up against the exact same problems my whole life. And as a matter of fact, a little bit later, we're going to talk about this. One of my rules, Roger's rules is life finds out what you need to learn, and then rubs your face in it until you do. And that's what the experience I had. All of a sudden I was looking around going, like, I can't seem to deal with these issues. I just keep coming back to the same issues. And not only was I coming back to the same issues, I was bringing so much stress, not only into my life, but into my family's life. And that was another thing. Like, I had a family 5 years, like 4 or 5 years ago. This was a new thing for me. I had a family to think about. I had kids that, you know, I wanted to help them become the biggest, best versions of themselves. And I didn't want to be showing them a father who was constantly unhappy and stressful, even though his outwardly things were going so well. So I found myself in a deep, dark hole, which most of us do at different times of our life. And most of us do it it's often different times of the day. We find ourselves in deep, dark holes. And my deep, dark hole had the same problems. I had surrounded myself with bad partners. I had this amazing, wonderful, playful life, and this amazing, wonderful, playful family, and this amazing, wonderful, amazing wife in my life. And yet, I had surrounded myself with business partners and all these different creative projects that were toxic, really toxic, that were killing me, like were draining my energy and filling me with fear and filling me with insecurity and lack of belief, the things that I really need. If you're an artist, if you're trying to deal with issues inside yourself, you need confidence to do that. So I had bad partners. I had bad energy as a result of these bad partners. And I had a really, really bad headspace. In spite of all the happiness and success that was in my life outwardly, inside, this was my daily occurrence, like my daily experience, these bad partners, toxic relationships, bad energy, and a really bad headspace. And so I had hit a type of bottom, my type of bottom, where I said, I can't do this anymore. Like, my family deserves better than this. My family deserves more than a person who constantly brings back stress into their life. You know how we all have that experience where we're like, you know, we're so great to other people, straight. I don't, maybe not for you. Like, I think there's different types of people in the world. Like, there's people who show their happy face to strangers and keep their unhappy face for their closest family and closest friends. And there's the people who do the reverse, you know, are unhappy to the world and show the best part to their family. Most people, I believe, are over in this camp, though. And I was certainly doing this. I was spreading unhappiness all over my joyful, wonderful family. And I just said, you know, this has to end. This has to end. Like, this sort of behavior, this sort of thought process, this sort of relationship with stress has to end. And I have a lot of stress in my life. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an actor, I write, I pitch, I have a company where I constantly go into meetings where I just pitch that my company can do amazing, wonderful things that these people haven't ever seen. So I do a lot of stressful things. And so I said, either I have to change my relationship to stress, really change it, not just at work, not just when I walk into audition rooms, where I'd actually learn to manage this stress in a much more effective way, but I needed to learn how to manage it at my home, like inside me, where it really counts. So one of the things that we talk about a little later is that neuroscience, we're learning all these amazing things about neuroscience. And one of the things that we're learning is that 90%, like 90% approximately, you know, that sort of number, the vast majority of how our life unfolds is determined by our inner response to our outer situation. 10% of our life is determined by our outer situation, the things that life throws in our way. 90% is determined by our inner response to those outer issues. So if you're going to put your time and energy into anything, where are you going to put your time and energy? I mean, if you're smart, aren't you going to put your time and energy into the 90% that you actually control, the 90% that's inside of you? So these are the thoughts that were rattling around in my head, and these are the thoughts that I was telling other people. Like, I've been teaching people for a decade at this point how to deal with stress and manage themselves, so they would be bigger, better, happier versions of themselves. And here I am, like, physician, heal thyself is sort of what, I'm waking up every morning thinking. I talk about this stuff. I help other people on a daily basis deal with this issue. And yet here I am in this deep, dark hole. So I started looking around for the strongest rope, and I talked to my wife a lot. I talked to my friends a lot. I talked to my social support circle a lot. And I said things like, what can I do? Like, of all the things, like, to my wife, what can I do? Because I'm a little lost here. And she said the simplest, smartest thing. She was like, well, what is the strongest rope you can grab onto to pull you out of this hole? Like, what's the strongest series of beliefs, of thoughts, of actions that will actually allow you to pull yourself out of this incredibly deep hole that's affecting our family? And so what I realized is that I had the answer right there in my hands, because the answer was what I was teaching to people. The answer was Rogers rules, the rules that I had created to manage myself going into stressful situations. I needed to stop thinking about those rules as being a career choice, as being something that related to my career. And instead, I needed to take one huge monster step backwards to see a bigger picture. And what I needed to see was that these rules actually are a way to manage your life. And so I started to talk about Rogers rules as not a way to manage yourself in a room where you're trying to do magnificent things, but also as a way of managing your internal world, so that when you're at home and with the people that you love and your friends and your family and your colleagues, and when you're at work and when you want to be magnificent and you want to be the most playful, the most authentic version of yourself, you know, that I actually had means to do that. And the means I had were these Rogers rules. And I had to break out of the belief that they only related to acting, that they only related to stress in a work situation. And instead, I needed to use them to look deep inside myself. And so I started to create this series of Rogers rules where I took them much larger than actors or even people who have like stress in their career. I started to deal with this as a life issue. And the moment I did that, my life changed. So let me jump back for a second. So back in 1997, when I first started to create Rogers rules, I created the first rule, which was have lots and lots of fun. I like play. Like when you walk into rooms that are really stressful, play. Like if you can walk into rooms and play, what kind of force of nature are you? So back in 1997, I created this, I started to change my life, and that one rule changed everything, like changed everything in my life. I started to have a better time and started to book more work and started to have a better time and I started to book more work and I started to become more of me, actually. And so I had that same experience 4 years ago, 5 years ago, when I started to actually take these rules and put them into play in my life and started to tell other people, teach other people, talk to other people and listen to them in terms of their issues and talk about how this would help them. When I started to do that, everything changed. And my life all of a sudden turbocharged. All the bad partners, all the bad energy, all the bad headspace started to go away. And didn't just go away in like, sort of like, it took years and years and years and years and years. They actually started to go away really quickly because these strategies are really powerful. And once I started to take the blinders off and realize that they actually relate to life, that things actually started to get really interesting. So let's bring it around to you. So, I'm an actor. It's easy for me to talk. I'm a storyteller. It's easy for me to talk about myself, but we only have a limited time. So there's more to that story, and you'll get way more to that story the deeper you come into our relationship. The more we have a relationship, the more these stories will come out and affect you, change you, because the whole reason we're actually doing this part is to affect you. I also do it to affect me. I mean, let's be honest. I'm very selfish. I'm an actor. I'm narcissistic. I'm very selfish. So I do things for my reasons as well. I'm an entrepreneur. I do things for my reasons. But one of my reasons is to make a difference in other people's lives. And nothing I talk about touches people and makes a difference in their life as much as the stuff that we're going to be talking about right now. So we'll put that off to the side for now, and I want to now get to the three simple strategies to combat stress. And there's not three, there's tons and tons, and there's lots that aren't so simple. All right, but we're going to start talking about simple ones right now, right? Because we only have a little bit of time, and I want to make a difference. So the first one is that you have to live your life. So we're gonna have this up in a slide in a bit, so you don't have to worry about writing it down. You can wait to that moment, or you can write it down. Writing stuff down is amazing, as you're gonna hear me say over and over and over and over and over again, that you need to write stuff down. The moment you hear something that's important and valuable, you need to write it down. Like, you need to really write it down, because writing locks learning into your body. It locks it into your brain and your body, and so that you can access it later when you need it, when you're in moments of extreme stress. So you can write it a little later. I'm just gonna talk for a minute now. All right. So strategy number one. Everything out loud. You need to live. You need to live your life out loud. And so the introverts who are out there thinking, and I look like an extrovert, but I have a massively developed introvert side. I believe I'm a massively extreme extrovert and a massively extreme introvert. I like meet on the edges, right? Not in the middle. I'm an edge guy. So I got a lot of introvert inside me. And if you come into further, and I'll tell more stories, you'll know, yes, a lot of things, if you're an introvert, the things that I talk about are things that you felt. So when you need to live out loud, you need to live out loud. And there's two ways of living out loud. Well, there's probably more, but there's two ways I want to talk about. Out loud talking, which is a really powerful way of living out loud. And another really powerful way is to write. So both of those work. So if you're the person who sort of goes, even in a quiet room, no one else is around, I'm in an empty house, I'm in a farm where there's nowhere else, like another farm for miles, no one can hear me if I speak out loud, but I still feel that I can't speak out loud. If you're one of those people, then you write it down. But for everyone else who has the ability to actually say things out loud, you want to say them out loud, coming out of your mouth, because you want to hear them. First of all, you want to hear them. Writing also means you hear them, but inside your head with your voice. We really want to get it outside into the world as much as we can. So you say out loud to deal with stress. So this is the first simple rule. You say out loud how you are feeling or what you are thinking. That's it. You just say it out loud. So you go, I'm stressed. Like, I'm stressed right now because I'm freaked out. I have to walk out on a stage and give a presentation, and I haven't given a presentation ever, or in 5 years, or the last time I gave it, I think I bombed, or like, get it out. Just say it. The process of saying what it is that you are feeling starts the process of dealing with that feeling. It's as simple as that. This is a scientific, neuroscientific proven truth. That if you just say what it is that your problem is, that your challenge is, that what the feelings that are and emotions and thoughts that are challenging you, if you just say them, you will start to deal with them. It doesn't mean that you finish dealing with them, but you will start to deal with them. And when you're under stress, like you have to walk out on stage, you have to walk into a really stressful room to do something, you have to go talk to your wife, or you have to talk to your wife about, like something important for the family or something important about your relationship that's really hard, any of those things. You might not ever be able to deal with stress totally. You might never walk into those rooms totally zen, loose, alive, free, playful, the best version of you. You might not get to that spot, but you might get part of the way there. You might get some of the way there, and some of the way is way better than none of the way, right? Isn't it? Some of the way is better than none of the way. So the first thing you do, say it out loud. If you say it into your head, you will find it's not as effective. I mean, do some tests. Like, do some of your own experiments. One of the things that we talk about is that they're called Rogers rules, because they're Rogers rules. They're me. I'm Roger. You're not. So these are things that work for me. They might work for you. And as a matter of fact, I believe they do, because I've taught it to thousands and thousands of people, and they come up after I've talked to them and say, this is the most amazing thing, and my life has changed. And we're going to talk about some of those stories a little bit later. Now I forgot what I was going to say about the stories. But anyway, let's finish up this one. 3 simple strategies. Number 1, out loud. Out loud. Out loud. Right? Out loud. That starts the process of dealing with what you're feeling with. So it works anywhere. If you're a parent, man, use it. I'm a parent. I got 3 kids under 10. Holy cow, saying what you feel really helps. Now, saying it to your kid at times is not the right thing to do. Sometimes out loud needs to be private. Right? Private and out loud aren't, they do mix at times. Like, they're not opposite. They're not mutually exclusive, right? You can be private and out loud. You don't have to be public and out loud. So you can do it. But even so, saying to your kid, oh, this situation is driving me crazy, starts to get those emotions out of your system. It starts to deal with those emotions, starts to deal with those thoughts. So number 1. Number 2, and if you guys have questions about any of this, please write them down. I love dealing with questions. I love it, love it, love it. Number 2, I've already hinted to this one. This is the first one that I did that changed everything in my life, changed everything. It's as simple as this. Combat your stress. Confront your stress. Face your stress with play. Play, fun. Like, if you're stressed out, have some fun. Do something that you think is fun. Now, lots of people that are adults don't even know how they have fun anymore. Like they do things like they go, oh, for fun, I'll go for a run. You know, like that's my idea of fun. And maybe for you, that is your idea of fun. You can tell in my voice, it's certainly not my idea of fun. But some of the reason people exercise is because the people put exercise and fun together because, you know, often when you're exercising, regardless of whether or not, like, you know, running a marathon or whatever is enjoyable, your body has a certain amount of enjoyment, right? Your body has a certain amount of enjoyment the moment you start to use it. So you want to confront stress with play, and play gets into your body, play gets into your mind. I have a talk called The Power of Play where I teach people about how powerful play is while we play. And it is one of the superpowers that humans have. The ability to have fun and play turbocharges our brains and bodies, brings in all sorts of amazing energy into your brain and body just by playing. So even though when you're stressed, play seems to be the hardest thing to reach for, right? I mean, it's like laughing, right? I'm going to talk about that in a minute. It's like, you know, I'm stressed. How do I laugh? Like, how do I grab laughter and pull it into my body when I'm stressed? Well, you try and you fail, and then you try again, you fail, and you try again, and then maybe you do it a little, and then you fail, and you fail, and you try it again, you succeed a little, and you fail. And then about 20 times later, maybe you're doing it. And then by the time you're doing it 40 times, you're doing it actually sort of consistently. You can do it. You can learn. We're humans. We can change. We can. Like, even though there's lots of wives and husbands who look at their spouse and go, no, I don't believe humans can change because look at that. That person's never changed. The truth is people change all the time. Aren't you changing? I mean, if you're listening to this webinar, you're in the process of changing, aren't you? Like, you're in the process of going, I want to hear something new. I want to see if I can grow a little. I want to see if I can deal with issues that I haven't been able to deal with. I want to change. So confront stress with play. Let me tell you a quick story. There's a woman I work with named Laura. She's amazing, amazing person. Their company hires us, so I work with them every once in a while. And so she's listened to my talks, and she's listened to my Pressure Cooker Confidence, which is a version of how to, be the biggest, best, most authentic and most playful version of yourself. And she's listened to Power of Play, and she's amazing because she actually listens to what I say and goes and does it. And then she comes back and tells me about it. It's wonderful. It's amazing. And so she, after listening to my Power of Play talk, she wrote me this amazing email like a week later, and she said, I have a lot of challenge with my kids. I've got 2 young boys and I work. And I feel that the moment I get up to the moment I go to sleep, I'm constantly in the process of, like, I'm always in mom mode. I'm always like, pick that up and do this. And I've got to do this. And I'm working, and now I'm home cooking, and now I'm cleaning up, and now I'm putting you to bed. And her kids, these 2 young boys are like constantly saying all day long, mommy, come play with me, come play. And she's always saying, she said, this is what she said to me. She's always going, I will in a moment. Or I can't right now because I'm just cooking dinner. I can't because I'm just doing the laundry. And so she heard my Power of Play talk, which is really about how to change your life using play. And she started to do it. She said, I took 5 minutes. She said, I'm going to take 5 minutes today. And in the morning, I'm going to take it in the morning, the most stressful time, usually for families at morning and bedtime, right? But in the morning, she said, I took 5 minutes, even though I had no time. And I said, everyone, 2 boys, come on, we're going to go play. And they went and played wherever, like it was the summer. So they ran outside and they did stuff outside for 5 minutes. And she said, the most amazing thing happened. She said all the stress that she was feeling, all the stress that she wakes up and goes, okay, I got to do this, and I got to do that, and I got to do this, and we got to get them out of the house, and now they're out of the house. Okay, great. And now I got to go to work, and then I'm going to go, and all of that stuff, she said, went away. And instead, for 5 minutes, it wasn't so easy. Let me back that up. She said it wasn't so easy to let go, and it won't be for you. Like, it's hard to let go of all the things that you have to do. But she said when she worked at it, like by the 3rd day, she was really present. When you're playing, you got to be present, right? So she was really present with her kids. And she said those 5 minutes changed the day. Not only that, what she literally said was those 5 minutes changed her relationship to her children. Those 5 minutes of playing. So instead of feeling stress, she said, I'm going to bring play in. Even though there's stress all around me, and taking 5 minutes to not do the things that I'm supposed to be doing fills me with more stress. Even though all that was true, 5 minutes of playing with her kids changed her relationship to her kids and changed her relationship to stress around her kids. Wouldn't you like to have that experience? I would. Okay, so confront your stress with play. Not, I should back it up and take off simple, because I don't think this one is simple. I think it's simple to say. I think it's hard to do. I think it's really hard to be out loud when you don't want to be. I think it's really hard to play when you're under stress. I think these things are hard. They're hard, but they're not complicated. They're hard, but they're not complicated. Play is not complicated. You can play. You know how to do it. Everyone knows how to do it. Even adults who forget how to play really still know how to play. We call it our inner kid. Anyway, that's number 2. Number 3, this is more practical for you guys. For the ones who want to be more practical, this is for you, right? I do a lot of stuff. I believe that if you change the way you think, you change the way you act. I believe that. That's one of the mottos of my life. You change the way you think, you change the way you act. It also goes the other way. You change the way you act, you change the way you think, right? You keep acting like a jerk, at a certain point, you're a jerk, right? Those things go together. But I love change the way you think because it's so easy. Changing the way you think, I believe, is way easier than changing the way you act. Act is hard, it's habits, it's, changing the way you think. Once you have an epiphany and you know a new way of thinking, it's hard often to go back to the old way. So I like thought, but for the people who like practical stuff, this next one is for you. So what do you want to do before any stressful situation? Whatever that is, doesn't matter. Personal, home, stuff, work, career stuff, doesn't matter, whatever. Before you go into a stressful situation, you want to take 2 minutes and you want to do power posing, and you want to link that to deep breaths and to priming. So this is my combo. Power posing, we talk about it further. You can Google it. Amy Cuddy talks about it. There's a TED Talk. It's a brilliant concept. We're all going to be doing it over the course of the next 10 years, 20 years from now. Everyone, we're going to have movies where people are walking around doing power posing as a normal part of a day because it's so smart. And what it is, it's this. It's tricking your body into being more powerful than it is, than it thinks it is. So you power pose, which is stand like in a Superman position, or stand like I'm a victory, or whatever. Someone did a Captain Morgan in one of my talks, which was super funny, knee up. Doesn't matter. Power, like a position of power, you hold that for 2 minutes, it actually changes your internal chemical makeup. So your chemical balance will actually change. So your cortisol, your stress hormone will go down, and your testosterone, which is linked to confidence, amongst other things, goes up. So you just do this for 2 minutes, and after 2 minutes, your internal chemical balance changes. Isn't that magical? That's magical. That's why people talk about it. Power posing, I will fake my way into being more powerful. Isn't that amazing? Because when you're under stress, you probably need to fake your way into feeling powerful, right? Because you're under stress. Okay. What you want to do while you're doing 2 minutes of power posing is deep breathing. So deep breathing is an amazing thing to do for thousands of reasons. I'm an actor. I spent 3 years studying acting, which meant a third of the time in those 3 years, I spent just learning how to breathe. I just learned how to breathe and use my voice appropriately. It is amazing what deep breathing can do for you. And one of the things that deep breathing can do for you that neuroscience is teaching us is that it will give you a sense of control. So often when you're under stress, you feel out of control. You feel like you're, I'm not in control. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in that room, and what am I going to say? I don't know. I'm going to sweat in ways that I can't stop. I'm going to, when you're under stress, you're on the edge of out of control, or you're totally out of control. You're looking at yourself going, is this who I am? And is this how I don't even seem to be able to control myself? So breathing, it turns out, neuroscientists have studied this, breathing is something you actually can control. So even when you're stressed and you're breathing shallowly, if you just focus on it, while you're doing 2 minutes of power posing, spend 2 minutes thinking about your breath and taking deep breaths. The thing about breathing is you control it. So what it teaches your brain in a moment of your brain feeling out of control because of stress, what it actually teaches your brain is that it's under your control. So even a little handhold like that is a huge benefit when you're under stress. Power posing and deep breathing, where you start to regulate your breath so that your breath starts actually being more of a deep breath as opposed to a shallow breath, which is what we normally do when we're under stress. So just by regulating your breathing, you will teach your brain that you are in control. You're in control. So isn't that amazing? I think it's amazing. So those two things, power posing and deep breathing, and then you want to, the third thing you want to do is tie it to priming. And priming is this awesome concept that neuroscience is discovering, that just like priming a stove or priming an old car, if you put positive thoughts into your brain before you walk into a stressful situation, your performance will go up by like a 10% statistically, or across people, the average will be that 10%, your performance will increase by 10%. Just by putting a positive thought into your head instead of a negative. Because the thing that we're finding out is that we as humans default to negative when we're under stress. When we feel stress, we go to fight, flight, or there's another one now, freeze. That's it, fight, flight, or freeze, right? So that's what our caveman, our DNA is trying to get us to do when we're under stress: fight, flight, or freeze. Well, we don't want to do any of those things. We want to go into a room and be the best version of ourselves, right? We don't want to do any of those things. So we want to, what we want to do is put positive thoughts into our head. We want to deep breathe while we're doing it, and we want to power pose. And if you do those three things for 2 minutes, I believe you become a superhero. I believe you become you have superpowers galore. Do it for longer than 2 minutes would be even better. Now, it's not going to, 2 minutes of this is not going to cure every problem you have. Let's not be crazy, right? These are all steps. We're humans. We are complicated, even if these ideas aren't. We are complicated, and we are very good at figuring out how to mess up easy ideas, right? We are very good at taking an easy idea, whoa, this works, and then figuring out how to mess it up. So, this is why we all need to work on this stuff. This is one of the reasons why I'm here sitting right now talking to you, is because the more I talk about this stuff, the more I hear it. The more I hear it, the more I actually act on it. The more I act on it, the more my life transforms into the life I want. And not only transforms into the life I want, it transforms in a turbocharged manner. Turbocharged. Who doesn't want to be turbocharged? So, Michael, let's put it on the screen, and let's go over some of these just really quickly to wrap up the 3 simple strategies. All right?
All right, here we go. There's the...
Great. So the beginning stuff, say what you're thinking, feeling out loud. Even you introverts need to be looking at this as the most you can. Push yourself as hard as you can, even if that only means whispering in a corner. I feel very angry. I feel very stressed. Whatever it happens to be, get it out loud, even if it's a whisper. Confront your stress with what? Play. Hard to do, but what an effect. The more you can do that, I believe the more you do that one, lots of other things will take care of themselves. And then deep breaths and power posing. And priming. I didn't put it in there. It's alliteration, right? I should put priming in there. And I just want to point out that when I was at university, I was an advisor at UBC, University of British Columbia. So I helped people at residence. I would help people with issues like they'd come to me and go, I'm having trouble studying, or I'm failing, or my roommate is driving me crazy, or I want to kill someone, or whatever. So we used to put on all sorts of workshops. And one of the workshops that we used to put on was assertiveness training, which was very popular when I was at university. I don't know if it still is. I hope it is. But assertiveness training was basically, we would teach people how not to, like, for example, get raped on campus. And the best way to not get, the best way to deal with rape is to not get into a situation where you might be raped, right? Like, the best way to avoid it is to not get into a situation where it might happen. And the best way to not get into a situation where it might happen is to have an energy and an attitude that makes people, like rapists, look at you and think, no, you're not an easy prey. And the way to actually have that attitude is to be assertive. And what you want to do is if you're walking down a dark street, you walk in the middle. There's smart things to do, like you walk in the middle so you can see if people are coming towards you and you're noticeable, etc. But what you want to do is you want to walk with confidence. You want to walk with basically power posing. So before power posing was talked about in terms of power posing, we were teaching it to people anyway. What we were teaching is, even though inside you're scared because you're in this dark, scary area and you are alone and you are potentially a victim, could be a victim of rape, what you want to do is you want to put all that away, and you want to be big, assertive. You want to walk with power. You want to look around, and if people are coming towards you, you want to look at them. You want to be assertive, right? So the point I'm making here is that this sort of concept has been around. Humans understand that we often need to pretend to be something that we're not, to become something that we're not, right? that we need to pretend to be something before we can actually become it. I'm an actor. I lie for a living. The better I lie, the better I do, right? So I know all about how fake can turn into real. As a matter of fact, all actors, you scratch them, all they care about is truth. One of the talks that I've got in the back of my head rattling around is what does lying for a living teach you about being a human? Because actors, writers, people who lie for a living, we have a lot to teach people about how fake becomes real. Now, I want to give you some extras because we promised 3 simple, and I gave you some that weren't so simple. So here's some really simple ones, hard to do. Simple. When you're under stress, smile, laugh, dance, sing. Any of those things will help you deal with stress. Put on music. My goodness, music solves so many problems for humans. Put on some music. Dance around, sing. You'll find your stress. What? Stress? Where did it go? I don't even know where it went anymore. I've been having so much fun. Now, the kicker as well is the next one, sleep. If you can sleep, you will start dealing with stress. If you can actually get a good amount of sleep every night, stress will become less and less of a burden in your life. And the last one, my favorite, is movement. Move. When you're stressed, move. Go for walks, jog on the spot. When I'm on set and the director goes, cut, I almost always immediately explode into action. They go, cut, and I go, oh, and I sort of dance, and I do things, I go, because what I'm doing is I'm getting movement, like, because I get to be Roger again, and I'm not my character, I get some movement into my body to deal with all the energy that's flowing around in there, that I'm not able to let out because I'm playing a specific character who's got specific thoughts and ideas and energies and feelings, and those feelings usually aren't, I'm super stressed because I'm acting like a different person right now, right? So I have all these feelings that I get them out. So where you can, if you're at the end of a presentation, it's really hard for someone to go, that's the end, and then for you to, you got to pick the right spot to do it, but move. And I think that the best exercise is where you combine movement with play. This is what I think most people do. I think most people, for exercise has become a type of play for them. That's certainly what sports are, right? I'm going to play basketball. It's exercise. I'm doing it. I'm also going to be in great shape if I do it, but I'm playing it. I'm playing it. I'm doing it because it's fun. Last couple points. Think differently. We got to wrap it up. Yeah. Think differently about stress. We're going to talk about that later. Seriously, just think differently about stress. Think about stress as a way of preparing your body to do bigger, better things than it's doing right now. You think about that, it changes the way stress affects you. And then lastly, so really, what are simple strategies to combat stress? Rogers Rules. All the Rogers Rules are ways to deal with stress. So we're going to talk about those more later. Michael, what's next?
Next up, we have, why did you show up today? That's a good question. It might be that you're tired of getting the same results from the same effort. It might be that you want to avoid making mistakes and focus on getting positive results fast. It might be that you want to reduce your stress at home and work. It might be that you know you need to change something, but you just don't know what to change. It might be that you're ready to move up to the next level. And it might be that you want to do more and be more. So is it time for you to step up and change your life with a proven system? To become the biggest, best, most authentic version of yourself you can possibly be, even when under extreme stress. It's your time. So now we're introducing Roger's brand new course, A Better You, which subtitle becomes the biggest, best, and most playfully authentic version of yourself you can possibly be, especially in moments of extreme stress. Roger's Rules teach you how to become the person that makes a difference.
Yeah, let me take over. This is my title, right? Rogers Rules. So, okay, Roger, so what do? They teach you how to become a person that makes a difference, makes your difference. That's what we're interested in, helping you to become the person that you need to become, helps you achieve success sooner, help you accelerate your journey. I mean, these are things that I learned over decades, and I teach to people so that they can do it in hours, weeks, minutes, years, not decades, right? Increase your productivity and creativity. Help you accelerate your journey, more passion, more interest, more enthusiasm. This is what we want in life, and we want to beat stress in everyday situations. We don't want stress to control us. We want to control stress. All right. Oh, some more. Transform. Okay, transform yourself into being the biggest, best, most authentic, most playful version of yourself you can be.
You
What's
got
this?
it. Okay, so let's talk just quickly about a couple people that have sent in some testimonials. Dave Lieber, Dallas Morning News columnist. What he has to say is the world is lucky that a talented actor named Roger Haskett has stepped off the stage and into the meeting world. His energy and passion light up a room. He was by far the best speaker. I was amazed by his fun sense of humor and, most important, how much I learned from him. I implemented his tips immediately and saw a noticeable improvement in my business. Terry Brock. You want to talk about Terry, Roger?
Sure, Terry is a Hall of Fame speaker, a great guy. I'm lucky to be called Terry and Dave friends of mine now, actually. And he said this, brilliant presentation you gave at the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers in Toronto, lots of great value. And Roger combines a mega genius mind with superb, I think that's superb, acting skills and delivers a practical, powerful message to his audience. I was glad to get there. It's not suburb, although I have been in the suburbs at times. Wow. Okay, what else? Oh yeah, this course is the ultimate shortcut too. So what we're doing is we're talking about a course here. Transforming your stress into success. Becoming the person that makes your difference. And increasing your confidence and personal power. This is what I believe it's all about. I really believe we make decisions moment to moment in life based on our foundation of personal power. Whether at a networking event I actually step forward and talk, or just stay back here and don't talk. Whether I, at a meeting, say the things that are in my head or I actually just keep them quiet. Whether or not when I'm parenting, I actually get involved with my kids and do the things that they need me to do, or do I hang back because I'm not sure if I'm gonna actually be good enough? Like, all of these things are determined by our own individual relationship to our personal power, which changes moment to moment. At least it does for me. So what we want to be doing is figuring out how to make that foundation stable and strong. Excellent. All right, what's next? What's included? Oh yeah, let's find out. 11 core modules with advanced video training. So these are video training modules. It's me on camera talking to you. So you get to see the things that I'm talking about as I'm demonstrating. So it's not PowerPoint. PowerPoint is wonderful and amazing, and we're using it right now in the webinar for obvious reasons. But what you get here is actual video, because video allows so much more communication than just hearing, right? Like body language. We're going to talk about how important body language is. So I thought it was only fair to give students a chance to see what my body language is doing and how to tell a story with your body. It also includes 3 bonus modules. It includes 6 insane VIP bonuses, and I guess that means you guys would be VIPs, which is only a limited time, right? Like bonuses always come and go based on whether or not you do it when it's available. And what else? Is anything else included? Or are we gonna? Oh yeah, good. So let's go through some of the modules. So module 1, this is we're gonna go through really quickly the stuff that you're gonna be learning. Module 1, this is where it started. This is me, and it's probably you too. Most people let stress determine their character in moments of stress. Learn how to put your character in charge of stress. Wouldn't that be good? Stop devaluing yourself. Oh my goodness. I mean, wouldn't it be nice if we don't have that problem? If you're the sort of person going, I don't have that problem, then good for you. Learn to recognize and avoid what I call black hole, black magic, and I'll tell you what that is later. Take charge of your relationship with stress and learn how to maximize your confidence. So important to maximize confidence. Module 2, the birth of Roger's rules.
Roger, due to time here, we're going to have to go through these a little bit faster. We're
okay. Well, why don't we just go through the titles? Yeah. People can always get more information if they want what's in the modules. So module 3, get comfortable being uncomfortable. So important. Module number 4, fight to be positive. And the word that is important in this phrase is fight to be positive, because it is not easy, or it is not your inclination to be positive when you're under stress, because you're a human, and neuroscience teaches us that when you're human and under stress, your brain remembers the negative and has something called positive amnesia, which we're going to talk about. Super interesting stuff. Module number 5, the power of pretending. This is something that we all can use. We are all actors. We all are actors. Every day we all act. Even if you don't know it, we're all actors. And I talk about how to harness the power of pretending so that you can actually turbocharge becoming a bigger, better version of yourself, becoming a better you, which is what we're working on. Next, please, module 6. The way you think about stress determines its impact on you. This is something that neuroscience is just now finding out. We've known this for years. There's a famous quote by Henry Ford, basically that you are what you think. And this is the truth about stress. How you think about it changes the way it affects you. Module 7, practice out loud. Tape it and watch it. So for anything that you're doing that has any performance to it, anything where you're walking into a stressful situation where people are going to be watching you, you want to practice out loud, tape it, and watch it. Module 8, smile. Oh,
here's the good one.
So easy to say, so hard to do, and so impactful when it happens. So full of impact when you can actually smile, when you're under stress. When you can play, when you can have fun, and when you can smile or laugh or dance, when you're under stress, you will have achieved a certain reality as a creative, as a force of nature. Like, you will be a force of nature if you can do the opposite things to what you feel when you're under stress. That is a character builder of immense help. Number 9, body language. Holy cow, we're going to talk about how valuable, important it is to spend time on your body language, and no one does it. So we're going to talk about how to recognize body language issues, how to change your thinking about it, and how to become much better at controlling your body language and harmonizing yourself. Oh, this one is one of my favorites. The last one to know how you did in the room is you. Every actor, every person can tell you unending stories. I have so many stories about walking out of audition rooms going, that was the worst audition. I am never going to work in this town. That's the end of me being an actor, and within 10 minutes getting booked for that part. So this, oh my goodness, this one alone is so important and so valuable for people. Okay, number 11. The power of play. Have lots of fun. How to harness the power of play and how to use fun to deal with stress so effectively. I mean, really, if you can use play and fun to combat stress, you will be, light years ahead of other people who don't have that ability. And really, it's just a way of thinking. It's a way of thinking about things. Bonus modules. Your ex, whatever it happens to be, starts the moment they can see or hear you and finishes the moment they can't. So we'll talk about that, and we talk about that in terms of social media as well. Module 13, this is a bonus module still, the callback. So, actors call them callbacks. Other people call them other things like second meetings or second interview or, further pitch or whatever. They're all the same thing. It's all how to manage your energy and your resources as you're walking into your second whatever. Because we're human, and even though when we're closer, we should have less stress and be happier, we have the opposite. We are full of more stress and usually tinged with, our happiness is totally taken over by our stress. So we talk about that and how to deal with that. Because, why blow it when you're closer, right? I mean, it's so crazy. Why blow it when you're closer? Module 14, last bonus module, in your choice lies your talent. And how valuable this concept is for people who are constantly, leaders, parents, people who are alive. Life is just a series of choices. Who we are, our personality, who we are exactly at this moment, right here in time, is only a series, was only created by a series of choices that you made. Choices you made. Remember what I talked about, 90% internal, 10% external, that's how our life is determined? This relates to that, because your choices are the 90%. Your choices are the internal world that you layer onto the external reality. So in your choice lies your talent. So what we want to do is be thinking and spending time on what our choices are. like what our moment-to-moment choices are. Okay, Michael, what's next?
We have a comment here from Annie White.
Yeah. Let me talk about this because this was something very personal to me. So anyway, one of the reasons I'm actually offering this course started back with Annie. She was one of the instigators. I gave my longest talk ever was a 2.5-hour talk that I gave to a bunch of dentists and people who work in dentistry. And out of that talk came such change because normally I only get an hour. And so the people that got that 2.5 hours had such change in their lives. It turbocharged and changed their lives. So this is what Annie said. I followed many of your suggestions and found to my amazement that I was not even nervous. You had an enormous impact on me and my ability to achieve this lifelong goal. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you read the full quote, and I talked to her after my talk, she came up and said, I'm going to be doing a book reading. And I always stress out for 2 weeks beforehand. I'm doing it in 2 weeks. I'm going to take all of your notes and I'm going to use them for my book reading. You've changed my life. I can't tell you how thankful. And then she wrote me this wonderful email after the book reading where she said, my life is different now. I've had the same effect, same challenge every time I do any presentation, anytime I do any book reading, anything, same problems. 2.5 hours of listening to you, Roger. You know, that's it. No recordings, no able to listen to it over and over again. 2.5 hours, and her life was different. This is what I, want to offer to you. What I want to offer to the world. This is what I believe I was put on this planet to do, is to help other people with this type of issue, because this is the issue that I dealt with. This is my issue. This is my journey, my lifelong one. Michael, let's go on.
Stella. Your keynote was very inspiring and motivational. Students were talking about it and referencing it even at the end of the conference. We're extremely happy to have you there. And I picked this one, Roger. I know you asked me about it because the students, and the point is that everybody's learning, but people think that students are learning automatically, and the older we get, we sort of shut that down. Well, the people that showed up today and the people that are interested in what we're talking about, they're learning, they're continuing to grow, and students are a perfect example of that.
Great.
The 6 Insane VIP bonuses, we're going to skim through this. There's a live Q&A video conference. There's 14 resource guides to lock-in learning. These are resource guides that deal with each module one-on-one with specific points from the module and asking questions and giving insights so that you can take away more from this. There's also supplemental team members resource guides. We've created a guide to implementing the Rogers rules. There's a video walking through the door. And you'll understand this a little better once you get into the course, but this is a really unique video that helps people at a key point in their lives. Customer-only Facebook group where you get interaction with the other members of the course and tons of input and guidance and support. Oh, look at this. There's another testimonial. Here's one from Abby. I was one of those people who chatted with you after your talk at the break and wanted to know the rest of Rogers' rules. I know they'll be valuable to me both in my business and personal life, and I'd love it and be so grateful if you could share them with me. I'm only sorry that I wouldn't get to hear your stories along with them. They made the rules so animated and relatable. Well, of course, in the videos, you're going to get all that. Yana, I love your presentations and energy and can definitely say that I learned a lot from you. Thank you again for taking time to come to Mobify. Thank you. And teach us about confidence in public speaking. So what is our goal? Our goal is to help you achieve success sooner, help you accelerate your journey, help guide you towards your goal of increased confidence and more personal power, to beat stress in everyday situations, and to ultimately transform you into the biggest, best, most authentic version of yourself you can possibly be in any moment. So the question is, can you afford to wait 5, 10, 20 years before mastering your stress?
Yeah, and this is something that I just wanted to jump in quickly. The thing is, you're the only person who can actually deal with this for you. No one else is going to be able to reach inside you and help you with these issues. You have to be the motivator. You have to be the person who goes, this is something that I need for me, to be the bigger, better version of myself, to help my family not have to deal with all this stress that I bring home, to help my life be better, happier, healthier, longer, more full of joy. These are the things that you have to decide. All right, Michael, let's keep moving.
Consider what could happen in your life if you were able to transform your stress into success and increase your confidence and have more personal power. Would that mean, excuse me, would that mean a pay raise?
Or mastering that presentation that you've been dreading.
Or finally being able to ask out that someone special?
Well, that's important. Or leading a meeting in a cool and confident manner.
Or attending that network or social meeting?
Oh yeah, those are stressful. Or getting a promotion, that'd be nice.
Or having a happier and more positive discussion with your partner, your parents, your children?
Oh, I think that is so important. How much our home life is important to our actual well-being is, of course, amazing. And yet we often don't spend time on this. We don't think about spending time on how to have better relationships, less stressful relationships with people. Okay, what else is up there? And this is also how to, being able to work with your coworkers in a more harmonious atmosphere. How amazing that would be.
Or feeling more comfortable and relaxed the next time you report to your boss. And
just reducing anxiety, that stress causes in everyday situations. Absolutely.
So you're going to ask us what's involved. Well, the investment is $197 today with 5 follow-up installments of $197 to follow. Or you can do one payment of $997 where you save $185. So these are the order buttons, and I'm going to go through this area. Oh, before I do that, we're going to talk about our guarantee.
Oh yeah, so this is the guarantee. We don't want your money if it doesn't help you. It's as simple as that. We just don't want your money if it doesn't help you. I believe this will help you. It's helped thousands of people. I give talks and people come up and write me nonstop saying how amazing this stuff is. But if it's not for you, then we'll give you your money back. Seriously, that's it. It's as simple as that. 30 days, 30 minutes, it doesn't matter. You don't like it, it doesn't help you, we'll give it back. Scam us if you want. Take it, learn all you can, and then ask for your money back. Seriously, I believe you won't, because it is full of value and will help you become a better you. Who doesn't want that? Okay.
So stay tuned. Remember at the beginning I said stay tuned at the end for a really cool bonus? Well, here's the really cool bonus. The first 4 people registered from this webinar will get a 30-minute Skype personal one-on-one coaching call with Roger. Now, we've never offered this before. This is incredible value, and this is something that due to the time constraints, it's just impossible to offer to everybody. So we had to limit it to a number of 4. But this is where you get to chat with Roger specifically about your life events, what's happening with you at this time. There's the link, and I'm going to open up also the information so that you can see it in your chat box. Should pop up. Should have popped up before I said that, actually. So there's the link. Now, here's the order page. There's the button that you click on. That takes you to one of these 2 buttons that you click on. And this process has been automated, and it's quite fast. You go to the checkout page where you see what your payment plan is, or you pay the full amount. You enter in your details. You have to pick a username and password, and these are important because these are the same account username and account passwords that you're going to use to log into the course with. Down at the bottom, you're going to click either credit card using Stripe or PayPal. Once you hit this place order button, this is important. The whole process has been automated. So when you click on this press order button, it's going to go through a number of back-end duties, and it's going to then spit you out on this Welcome to Durango courses page. But this takes about 5 to 10 seconds. So once you press that button, just hang on for a second. You'll end up right here. This is the Welcome to Durango's courses. It's got your members link page, which will take you directly to the course. And on the course, you can see in the dashboard over on the left, there's the home page and all of the modules. And below that are the bonuses. And there's a personal introduction here, plus a welcome video from Roger. So that's the course, that's the information, and that's how to access it all. Now, we did have a number of quick questions come through. I think, Roger, we're just 3 minutes over, so let's go through these. I'll pick out 3 or 4 real quickly just to make sure that everybody gets a chance to.
Yeah, and if people are still online, and listening, great. If these questions are useful, great. It's now after 11. If you have to go, we totally understand. We're all busy. Everyone's busy. But thanks for sticking around. And if you don't stick around to the very end, I just want to say at this point, thank you. Thank you. Really, I hope that you guys come on in and start interacting with us, with me, because my life has changed because of making a commitment to this type of growth. So I hope that I can offer the same to you. Okay, Michael.
Good. Okay. So Tammy asked the question, can I order next week? Hi, Tammy. The short answer is no. The course is open just this week and it actually closes tomorrow at midnight. So if it's something you're interested in, now's the time to act. It's one of those things, get in while the getting in is good. Thomas asks, how often can I watch a specific module? Great question, Thomas. We get this one all the time. And that deals with our lock-in learning concept that I know Roger would love to answer.
Yeah, so the thing that's very important for Michael and I was to make sure that this was a system where you could watch this as much as you want, as many times as you want. And the thing that I hear most, so when I ask people, like in my surveys, who do you think I should be talking to, like what groups? People always say the same thing. They say, my loved ones, like they'll go my kids or my partner or my wife or my husband. People want these things for the people in their lives to help them also become better. So the idea is that to change your behaviors, you need to have habitual actions that replace what habitual actions you have there already. And so watching these, when you come to a section that you really need, like I really need to deal with getting comfortable being uncomfortable, you can watch that as many times as you want. And we find that people watch them a lot because you get a lot of stuff out of it, on the 3rd, the 5th, the 9th, the 20th time, but because it speaks to you. You need to it's like getting support. It's like support. It's a support network, a way of going, oh, I know I'm supposed to be doing this, but I went to a networking event. It didn't quite work out the way I wanted. I better watch that section again in that module. So as many times as you want. And then, if you've got loved ones with you, get them over and watch with you. Get them to watch on version 4 where you go, look at, son, daughter, this stuff should relate to you. Not should relate. This stuff will help you become a better you. Who doesn't want their kids to be a better, version of themselves? We all do. Okay.
And let me just add, Thomas, that each module has its own resource guide to give you additional support, direction, and guidance. Each one starts with a list of key takeaways that are discussed in each video for that module. And then following that is a section which is titled Questions to Ask Yourself and Actions Steps to Take. So again, we're trying to lock in the learning for you, providing all these extra resources. All right, Pete asks, no, we already answered that question. Cindy asks, how long is each module? Hi, Cindy. The shortest module is 7 minutes, module 12, and the longest one is module 5, I think it is, and it goes 43 minutes. The average is about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Each video is as long as it takes to get the point across and to keep you interested, no longer than that. Let's see here, Sarah. How long is membership for? Hello, Sarah. Currently, the membership is for lifetime access, which means you can access this for the rest of your life. But in the near future, we're going to be moving over to a monthly recurring membership. So best buy is to get into it.
And the other thing as well is the price that we have right now is not going to stay. The reason this is a limited time is because when we open this up again and do it in a couple months, which is what will happen when we offer this again after this first offering, most likely the price is going to be higher. We're going to add more content. We keep adding more content, but as just to deal with reality, you guys are getting in early. That's a good time to get in. It's going to go up as things happen. As more people come, it's going to go up. So now's a good time.
Exactly. Doug asked a question about guarantees, and I think we just covered that. So that question might have come in a few minutes ago. So we won't repeat it. Durango's guarantee is 30 minutes or 30 days. Don't like it? Get your money back. Real simple. Send us an email. We'll refund the money.
You're like me. You're saying, okay, I won't answer that, and then I answer it.
There you go. All right. I'm going to pull out one more question here, and then we're going to wrap it up. Anybody who's asked a question and we didn't get an answer to you, I will send you an answer by email so that you can get that. And anyone who has a question that they haven't thought of asking, send it in by email. support@durangocourses.com. Very simple, support@durangocourses.com. Send in your questions and I'll make sure personally that you get an answer. Tori asks, I have a rough time at work dealing with stress. Can this course actually help me? Hi, Tori. Let me answer point blank. I think the answer is yes. And the reason I can say that is because I've got 2 really good stories, and I'll run through them real quick for you. But these are I think, indicative of what's going to happen, what can happen. I have a friend who has who's an owner of a couple franchises, and he gets up early, goes to work, comes home late, and I'll tell you, he's stressed all day long. And he told me that he judges his day on how stressed he is by how many times he throws up. Literally how often he barfs. We have there's a video in somewhere floating around, get the barf out of leadership. This man who runs a business, has a family, judges his day based on how many times he goes into the bathroom and throws up. And it's stress related, totally stress related. So when we talk about stress, we understand that people deal with it in different ways. Some people it's headaches, some people people deal with it in all different ways. Another quick story is I've got another business owner, turns out, that after work gets in his car and he takes a drive. And he points the car away from his house and away from his business and drives until he comes sort of to a spot and he goes, oh, I guess I should go home. Because he's learned that he used to go home and he would yell and scream and he was awful. And he knew that, but he didn't know what to do. So the only way he could figure out to do it was to not go home. And so he would get in his car and he would drive. And sometimes those drives are 15, 20 minutes. Sometimes he's gone for an hour plus. So he leaves work late because he's a business owner. He leaves work and he doesn't show up at home quite often an hour, hour and a half later because he's trying to find a way.
Isn't that, sorry, I was just going to jump in there. Isn't that interesting? Like, wouldn't it be much better to figure out a way of dealing with stress so that you don't have to lose another hour of time with your family? Like, that's, to me, the interesting thing in the story there is that how amazing this guy is to save his family from this stress, but the cost that he's paying for me is too high. Too high. Like driving around for an hour, that's too high, because after work is the prime time that families should be together. Like families, you need to see your family at some time. So getting rid of stress, but paying the price of not seeing your family, to me, that's not an answer. The answer is figuring out how to deal with stress so that you can be home quickly with your family and having the best time with them as quickly as possible, because let's face it, life's short. Time with your children just never comes back. Once it's gone, it never comes back. They're never going to be 4 again. They're never going to be 6 again, right? So these are things that you need to figure out, because your family and you deserve it, right? That just seems so obvious to me.
That's it.
Okay.
And specifically, Tori, Module 6, the way you think about stress determines its impact. I know inside that video, you will get lots of good direction. All the other videos deal with stress too in their own way, but that specific module is keyed into your question. So there's something for you. Okay, we're going to keep the rest of these questions. As I said, I'll email out the answers. Roger, we're into the close section here. Anything that you want to add to the end of our presentation?
I mean, I think I've said it all. Like, I really hope that people take a chance and come on in. There's very little chance. Like, get it. You don't like it, get your money back. Get it, learn it all, and still ask for your money back if you want to. Like, we don't care. What I care about is helping as many people as possible make their difference in this world. And the reason I care about that is because our world is in a dark place. We are in a place where humans, for the first time ever, have been able to change the planet that we're on in such a way that it's going to affect our ability to live. We need the most people in the world possible being able to make their difference in the world so that we can actually steer ourselves into calmer, safer waters. We need people to be the biggest, best, most authentic version they can be. We need people to be a better version of themselves. So that, I believe, is one of my journeys, my goals, my life mission. So I hope, please come in. Come in. I believe it will make all the difference to you, all the difference.
Roger and I want to thank you for attending today and staying with us to the end. Since you committed your time to be with us here up until the end, it tells us that you're someone who's dedicated to success. It seems to us you'd be perfect to try out our offer today, so go do it now. You'll be happy you did. Click on the link on the right and sign up, and we'll see you in the members area real soon. And with that, adios, everybody. We'll see you next time around.
Bye-bye.